Welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Santos Show. I'm back with my boy Justin, and we do for this week have a surprise guest. He is a long returning old friend of ours that we haven't seen in quite some time. Come
You
up
guys
on
seen
here,
our
Webby.
Twitch? If you guys seen our Twitch, it's friendly face over here, Colin Webby, as we like to call him. Go
What's
ahead
up,
and
Yup.
introduce
guys?
yourself, man.
Yeah, take the floor. You have the floor, my man.
Wow. What an entrance. Thank you, guys. It's good to be back. I've been really wanting to get back at this, and I'm glad to be here. Can't wait to talk about some sports. That's my game. So, yeah, just ready to get started. Let's do it.
Especially football, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All
Especially
right,
football. We're
guys.
gonna be
Well, before we get started, everyone go ahead and drop a follow, drop a like, subscribe, and we stream every Tuesday at 6 p.m. every Tuesday. Come check us out, guys, at our podcast at The Santos Show.
oh, all right.
All right,
Well,
Sammy, go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, let's go ahead and kick this off. We got the first game with the Seattle Seahawks versus the Dallas Cowboys for Thursday night. What a game, I must say. Ended up being 35-41 with the Cowboys coming out on top. I'm just going to say this right away, right off the bat. Geno Smith, he actually impressed me this game. He only threw one INT. That was a surprise for me. And then also, just honestly, just hitting Metcalf the way he did, Metcalf absolutely went off this game with 6 receptions, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, did not get the win, but I must say it was a hard fought battle, especially over in Dallas with all that crowd noise in that dome. They came across a pretty big feat. What would you guys say? I mean, even though
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, once the Cowboys are rolling, it's kind of hard to stop them. They have such a tough defense, and with the great defense like that, you have to, find a way to score, and for them to put up 35 points on them is incredible. Kudos to that whole organization. The Seahawks have been killing it this year. And we'll have to wait and see, but I mean, they can put up some points, so they're in contention here.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with Dak Prescott as well. I mean, his competitive nature just shows on the field. I mean, the way he was hitting some plays and making some plays, and then yeah, that Cowboys defense, man, it's no joke. I mean, Parsons gets after it. He's unblockable, literally unblockable. I mean, he lines up everywhere. He lines up on the line. He lines up on the outside as a linebacker. He'll go up in the coverage. I mean, dude, that guy's an animal. So just insane to see that in that Cowboys defense.
absolutely.
What do you guys think about CD Lamb popping off just like every game now?
This is
Like,
this is almost like
ever
an
since
everyday
like
thing for him.
week like 6, 7, he's just been the guy that's the guy on that squad, the guy you look at, Dak Prescott and CD Lamb, just taking off. They're the headline. What do you guys think?
Yep. I'd have to say I mean we're for me I'm not shocked. I mean Lamb has been putting up numbers all year. I feel like that's like his number one target. By far anybody else. He had 12 receptions out of 17 targets. Bear in mind, he had 17 targets. That's kind of crazy. But he got 12 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown, not including the 2 rushes he had for 30 yards, averaging around 15 per game. So another amazing performance by CD Lamb. I'm not shocked.
I'm not shocked either. I mean, I think that CD Lamb, especially early on in the season, was not really talked about as a true number one for that team. And there was a lot of question on, like, man, should they have gotten rid of Amari Cooper? Should they have let him walk? You know what I mean? Is CD Lamb really ready for this role? And I think that he's shown later on in this year that he is that guy. He is that number one receiver for the Cowboys. So definitely deserves a little bit of respect on that, at least.
Yep. So if you guys don't know, Kenneth Walker is out this game, running back for Seattle, and Zach Charbonnet took over. He had 19 carries for 60 yards, for 1 touchdown. His longest was for 14 yards. Are they missing Kenneth Walker here? Is he's that missing piece that they needed to win this game?
In my eyes, yes. I think that if Kenneth Walker played this game, I believe that they have a lot better of a time being able to manage that clock better because they know the back that's behind them and that they're going to be able to run down that time a little bit more, make the Cowboys a little bit more uncomfortable. And I think it would have worked out a lot in more favor of Seattle. But since they had Charbonnet, don't get me wrong, he still did an amazing job, as a rookie. But you know, it's not Kenneth Walker. Let's be real. That's just like saying Tony Pollard's hurt and then they're having their backup play for them. Like it's that's not the guy. We already know that. But at the end of the day, still did a decent job. He got he did what he was supposed to do. I just feel like Kenneth Walker would have did a better job.
I agree. What do you
Yeah.
think, Webby?
No, I mean I agree with everything that Sammy said. I mean, controlling the clock and keeping that high-powered offense off the field. I mean, when you allow your defense to be out there as long as they did, I mean, it's no wonder that they put up 41 points. I mean, the Cowboys had 36 minutes to their 23, and they were still able to put up 35 points. So just imagine if they were to had a little bit more of that running game, right? Slow down the game, slow down the clock, keep Parsons at bay so he's not just rushing your quarterback on every single play. So, yeah, I definitely agree.
100%. Do you guys have any other points that you guys would like to talk about this
No,
game?
I'm just like kind of pretty proud of the job that Geno Smith was able to display against the Cowboys. I thought that was a tremendous like performance out of him. Especially going in there, playoffs on the line. Are you going to be able to score against these Cowboy defense? We've seen what they've been able to do against the Giants, etc. So are they going to be able to score? And he made everyone shut up. He put 35 points on them. That's well enough to win a game. Just your defense couldn't hold up, and it is what it is. But offensively, they were great.
I have to agree. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the next one, guys. We got the Lions at the Saints, with the Lions barely edging the top here at 33-28. What happened here, man? I'm not even gonna lie. Like Jared Goff seemed so off this game. Like he didn't seem like he was himself. I don't I have no clue what ended up happening. All I know is that this should have been a one way like the entire time, and instead they made it a lot more uncomfortable than it should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at this game and you're looking at the box score, right, the first thing that jumps
Mhm.
out to me is the third down efficiency. Only going 6 for 13, like 46%. I mean, it is an okay, but it's not great. It's not great for what the Lions have been able to do this year. And I think that's why they weren't as high powered. Well, at least made it look like they weren't as high powered as they usually are. So I think that's the one thing. And just like you said, it looked like it was really uncomfortable. He didn't look like himself. So I mean, he wasn't bad. Like he still put up a decent amount of good stats, but it just didn't seem like the same type of offense we're used to.
Yeah. Yep. Justin,
I was kind of
thoughts?
surprised of Jameer Gibbs here. He wasn't able to get involved in the passing game at all in this game. I was very surprised about that kind of approach. He was more used towards the running game, ground and pound kind of thing. Double punch with Montgomery. That's just a crazy 1-2 punch right there, man. Think about it. You got Montgomery that's like literally a workhorse, can run the ball a million times and be like completely like your guy that just takes over the game, gets yards the hard way. And then you got Jameer Gibbs, who can be that playmaker, can do the exact same thing, and is a younger version of him. It's just an insane 1-2 punch with the Lions. If Jared Goff just manages not to get rid of the ball in the opponent's hands, I think this team is set for the playoffs, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great watching them moving forward.
I'd have to agree. I think also just bear in mind Gibbs had only 8 carries and he had 60 yards off those 8 carries. Montgomery had 18 carries, a little over double the amount that Gibbs did, and he only tackled 56 yards with a touchdown. So, do we think that like Jahmyr Gibbs should be, in contention of this maybe RB1?
Yes and no. Um, Whatever works, like if David Montgomery goes out there and he's like breaking free, giving you like the explosion plays, obviously you start him. I think it's one or the other. They can pick and choose here. They don't have to really have a running back one, running back two. I think they're both running back one, like they're both right there.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is like a different type of running back than a Montgomery. I mean,
Yeah.
Montgomery is like your, smash mouth, I'm gonna get after it, like kind of bell cow type of running back, where
Yeah.
Gibbs is like that breaking speed, can get out of the backfield really quick, you can get him outside. So I don't think that he should be in a larger role. I think they should just utilize him more. And
Yeah.
I mean, like out of the backfield, catching balls and making guys miss in space. Like, I mean, I think that what the Lions are doing is smart and not trying to hurt the guy. Like not getting him out there and carries for 20 carries a game, because they don't want to see him get hurt and they want to see him here for a long time. So I don't think that he should get more. I just think that he should be utilized differently. And what I mean is just getting the ball out to him quick in some space and just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of these great teams right now with two primary running backs, like, a lot of these great teams. So honestly, is that the new like kind of like flow with the NFL with some of these teams, especially these upper teams? You see a lot of them with running back one, running back two, putting up really good numbers. Is this the new thing?
If you have a tired running back out there, a guy that's pulling pretty much all of the snaps, he's prone to get injured, prone to be tired. He's not gonna perform later on down the road, right? You got a 1-2 punch with two guys that can perform equally as good. There you go. You solved your problem right there. So now, like, they can take turns, be like at their full strength each possession that they get the ball. It's a crazy strategy, and I believe it's working in the NFL today. I have one more thing I want to talk about the Lions, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Dude, how good has Sam Laporta been for them this year? Rookie tight end.
So good.
Holy.
That's my boy right there.
Where did this come from?
I showed him. He's like, yeah.
Did they like,
Beast.
He's a beast.
Did they get lucky, or was this just great drafting?
I mean, let's talk about the tight end draft as a whole. I mean,
you got Luke Musgrave. He's another one that's been debated for the Packers.
I mean, Dalton Kincaid for the Bills. I mean, he's been really good.
Yep.
So, like, an absolute monster of a tight end draft for sure this year. And Laporta has been awesome. I mean, that dude's a beast, man. He
Dominant.
can get after it. I mean, he's good in the running game. He's good in the pass game. He's just an all-around awesome player, and I'm excited to see where he's going to go. Yeah, exactly.
All right, this is a crazy thing to say, but like when you look at this stat line right here, and you see like Detroit receiving, and you see Amon-Ra St. Brown, their number one guy, get almost 100 yards lower than the rookie tight end. We were over here like scratching our heads, just thinking to ourselves, how can you even guess this is gonna happen?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I think the Lions in the last couple of years have just nailed it in the draft. I mean, a lot of us were, I think, questioning like, oh man, you draft a running back in the first round, and then you go after a linebacker. Like, what the hell are you doing? But I mean, we've seen it pay off, like really, like big time. Like Gibbs has been an instant success. I can't remember the linebacker's name, so sorry about that. But like
even the guy they got running back last year, DeAndre Swift, he was a stud as well. Look who he's doing for the Eagles.
Yep.
Although he didn't do very much this past game.
We'll get to that.
Actually, you know what? I just want to jump right into it. How about you guys? I'm already feeling it.
Oh my! You don't want to say anything about the Saints?
I honestly, no, I really don't. I honestly don't, because the Saints are going to be garbage. That's just
I do want to say one thing, if you don't mind, just about Taysom Hill and like just an
Sure.
awesome
Yeah.
player
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
What
he
a
is.
beast.
Like,
What a beast.
dude, I mean, he's just a dude. Like, you can't even label him as anything. Like, he's just a guy that gets out there and he just plays. I mean, he's out there in special teams. He's out there as a
He
quarterback,
can
like
do
as a running back.
everything. He
Dude,
does
what an
everything, man.
awesome, super cool player that we have in the NFL. Like,
Yeah,
So
it's
unique, right? So
so
unique, and
so
you
odd
saw
to
how
see that
Sean
in a
Payton
modern
used
game,
him.
really.
it
Because
is.
you
It
would see
is.
that usually in a 19, old games, but in a
Yeah.
modern game, you don't really see a positionless player like Taysom Hill.
Like Taysom Hill. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's incredible to watch. And it all started with Sean Payton. Honestly, I feel like Sean Payton was the one to like kind of like pull the trigger on it and start running those plays, and it started paying off. And then he started doing it more, and then now you see like they just kept that tradition. They were like, you know what, we want to
Yeah.
keep this going because this guy is incredible. He can throw the ball. He can run. They mainly use him for quarterback, like just running, honestly, just hiking it and then running with it, and just having his running back as like a lead blocker.
yeah.
So it's awesome.
And
It's just
he's
really
doing
awesome to
this,
see.
and he's like 33 years old, which is what blows my mind the most. Like, he's at like, I mean, what would be the most like at the back end of somebody's career, and he's still performing like that, which is just amazing. So,
It's incredible.
Real quick
Um,
before we move on,
sure.
just real quick, do we think the Saints team and Derek Carr is not a match? Do we think it's coaching? What's their struggles this year? Like, they're 5-7. Their expectations are a lot higher getting Derek Carr, having Alvin Kamara come back, you know, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. Like, they have a good group. Like, on defense, Lattimore, So they had a good squad. Is it the coaching, or is it Derek Carr just not fit for the Saints?
I think
I
it's a
think
lot
he
of
just
things.
doesn't. I think he just doesn't fit overall. In general, it doesn't matter. I
As an
really
NFL
think
quarterback, hold on, am I understanding you correctly? As an NFL quarterback, he doesn't fit in,
as a
or
quarterback one, absolutely yes. I think he should be a backup, but I don't think he should be a starting quarterback now. Oh, I feel like he's tarnished this year. Like he has weapons. He has them. They're there. He just isn't performing. Hence why is
honestly,
when he left the Raiders, all the Raiders fans were freaking throwing parades and having
yeah.
like, thank you, like give us
Now,
another quarterback.
now that I realize something, Sammy, it's interesting that the fact that you just brought up that. Now that I'm realizing it, most of the highlights that I've seen about the Saints offense was Jameis Winston throwing touchdowns.
That doesn't say anything. I don't know, man. Like I said, this guy, he's not the guy. And
Yeah.
Saints, I guarantee you, they're in the same boat as Oakland Raiders were. Now the Vegas Raiders, right? Like they're in the same
Yeah.
boat. They're like,
I think
man,
I
we
agree with that.
get Carr out of here. Like we don't want him. Know what he's doing.
I mean, everything starts with the quarterback, right? And the team. Like, do you have the guy? And if you can't confidently say that you have the guy, then you don't have the guy. And that's just a
Yeah.
simple fact. Like, I mean, like real. Like, I mean, with all the things that like the Kansas City's going through, right, with their offense, they're not going to point at Mahomes as the issue, right? Because he's shown that he is a top end guy. So when you look at the Saints, you're like, well, why is their offense sucking? It's got to be the quarterback, man. It starts with him. So
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of agrees, and I think Saints fans are, pretty livid of this year.
That's why I brought it
absolutely.
up. That's why I brought
All right,
it up.
Sammy. This is the game you want to talk about the most. Go ahead and lead
Yes.
us right into it.
I want to,
Let's
and
hear
I'll
it.
start it out. I'll start it out, guys, by saying I am sorry to all the fans and 49er fans out there that I doubted. I'm sorry. Freaking crucify me, all whatever. I did not expect this. I did not. And we'll get into it, as the 49ers ended up beating the Eagles 42-19 at the Eagles. Did not see this coming. So honestly, Justin, I'll let you just take it after that, because honestly, like this, it hurts me just looking at this and seeing, wow, Brock Purdy actually did well again against a great
And
defense.
before I talk about anything, Sammy, I just want everyone to understand what you said as this game was going in the first quarter of this game. What exactly did you say? Tell everyone, and then I'll just a moment of silence to let everyone process.
So the first the first play of the game, right, guys? San Fran gets the ball, 3 and out, 3 and out. I'm already saying, I told y'all he can't handle the pressure. And the next time they get the ball, 3 and out again. I said it. He can't handle the pressure. Eagles defense is so much better. And then afterwards, that ship sailed. You heard crickets from me because I didn't say nothing, because all I kept seeing was touchdown, touchdown, touchdown for San Fran. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, this should not be happening. So there you go, Justin. And we can take that moment of silence if you need it. Just process.
Just moment of silence of Eagles fans, really. Just a moment of silence for them. They need it. Okay, because if they bring that stuff into the NFC Championship game, I'm telling you right now, they're going to lose. And to guess who? The 49ers.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
if they got it rolling, they're the best team in the world.
We said
right
it
now.
before. We said it in the last podcast.
If
we?
they got it rolling,
we literally talked about it.
They're the best team.
We said the 49ers, if they can get
Yes.
this done, and if they can beat the Eagles convincingly, that we would potentially, obviously, see them in the Super Bowl. And they did. They just did
Yeah.
that. So there's no doubts with me now. At that point, I don't think I have any doubts. Don't get me wrong. Now, playoffs are a whole different beast, right? It's a whole different beast. We've seen quarterbacks go in there and fold under pressure. We've seen it time and time again. But we will see, this team has that potential. They have everything they need in order to get a Super Bowl. They have everything they need. All they need to do is do the job and do it right. Everybody does their job. Everybody's getting a ring. It's that simple in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the best offense and the best defense, the best pass rush, the best coverage defense in the NFL, I mean, it just goes to show. So, and that's
they held the Eagles to 19 points. Jalen Hurts went down. Believe it was ankle,
For like three plays, yeah. And it was 3 plays he was down for.
Yeah,
and
so they held to 19 points.
Yeah. I think
19
what's
points.
going to definitely limit the 49ers and it comes down to Brock Purdy and can he step up in the big spots. And we have seen that this year. We have seen him play really, really well, like perfect almost. But we've also seen the deficiencies. And I think that came with maybe injury issues, concussion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like he's got to execute when he needs to execute. He's got to continue to play like that. So
yeah,
that's the one thing that's like the 49ers a question mark because they got all the pieces. They got the best, like probably the best defense in the NFL, probably one of the best offenses in the NFL, one of the best head coaches in the NFL. But it still comes down to can he execute in the big spots.
The sad thing is about the 49ers is that honestly they can beat probably 50% of NFL teams out there just with Christian McCaffrey alone. And
yeah,
I mean, like,
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, he doesn't have to be like what everyone's expecting him to be. Like, we saw this team with Jimmy G minus Christian McCaffrey, and I mean, Jimmy G was able to take them to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, you get a better quarterback, which Brock Purdy is a better quarterback in my eyes right now, of course. And then they have Christian McCaffrey, man. It's just like it's broken, and then they have the best defense. It's just a broken team, and if they got it all rolling, and Shanahan's got it rolling, and they're practicing, and they're making sure nobody's getting injured and staying healthy. This team is most likely going to the Super Bowl, guys.
I mean,
I believe it.
I just have one point to really like to stress about this game. And if you look at that receiving core from the 49ers and what they were able to do, Debo actually fucking went off. Debo went off. George
Yes, he did.
And it's insane to think about there was only 5 receivers. 5 receivers that he passed to. Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Juan Jennings, and Christian McCaffrey. Those 5. Like, he didn't have a whole depth of people he was throwing to. So he was literally throwing to like almost the same people, but he didn't even throw as many times as honestly I thought he would. He only threw 27 times. 27 compared to Jalen Hurts 45. Like, it's
And
just
you know what's
insane.
crazy?
And it
That's
shows you
all
that
that
run-
that's
with
all
the
that
run
was
game.
needed. Yeah, that's all that was
Because
needed.
that run game. Because Christian McCaffrey is out there running 17 times for 93 yards. Like, can you stop this man? Webby, please tell me. How do you stop CMC?
You
How?
don't. Only CMC will stop CMC. And
Correct.
that's going to be my next point, is the San Francisco 49ers have to be careful that they're not relying too much on him to carry this team on the offensive side of the ball.
That's true.
Because they don't want to risk him getting hurt. So that's what I'm talking about. And when I
Mhm.
say, like, Brock Purdy also needs to step up
Yeah.
and execute in moments when he needs to be, like, they cannot rely on CMC to just bail him out in every situation. So, yeah, that's the only point I have to add. But other than that, I mean, San Francisco just needs to stay healthy, number one, just continue to play well, and then, yeah, just coast to the playoffs because, I mean, in my eyes, they're the number 1 team, and they're probably going to make it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, Eagles, they just did not perform. This is, by the way, the 3rd game in a row where it rained on them. In a row, not even like separated. This is in a row. Like, it's very unfortunate,
Yeah.
but it's just, it goes to show you that like they need to tidy it up. Now's the time when you need to tidy up, because guess what that loss just brought to them? That loss just brought to them potentially losing the number 1 spot. Because now, if the Eagles lose one more game, and they still have 2 more games that could be any way, they're going up against Cowboys next week. Well, this week technically, and then they're going up against Seahawks. And Seahawks, the way they just performed, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty dangerous too, because do we know if Jalen Hurts is going to be 100%? And then also, I don't think this really hurts them as much as we think right now. I don't want to really jump the gun too much. We don't really know how Jalen Hurts is feeling right now, but let's say he's completely healthy and nothing's wrong with him, and he's going out there starting next game, and this team is still together. They don't have too many injuries. I'm thinking, the Eagles have nothing to worry about. I think they're still better than, the Seahawks. I still think they're better than the Cowboys. So I don't think they really have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Just got to worry about Jalen Hurts, and then everything else, you're okay. Just take a breather. This stuff happens. You only lost 2 games. No worries.
What I don't like to see from the Eagles here is the run game production.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely atrocious.
Swift got
absolutely
hammered. This past
atrocious,
game.
Man. Like,
yeah, that dude. Honestly, with Chase Young and Bosa, dude, it's just that's tough, man. You go right, you go into Bosa. You go left, you go into Chase. What are you gonna do, man? Like,
and then you got to go up the middle. Nope, that's Eric Armstead.
Yeah, so there's only so much you can do, and we saw that, and they weren't able to do the tush push as much because they weren't able to get up the field like they normally do. So,
that's just concerning to me to see that.
Yeah,
like,
it is. It is concerning, especially because it's 42-19.
Yeah, I mean that's just not what you're used to seeing from an Eagles team. So,
no, not at all.
Not at all.
I can't remember the last time they scored less than 20 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better luck next time. They need to tidy some stuff up for the playoffs, because that's probably the next time they'll see them. In my opinion, that's when they're going to see them next. So
it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
They need to clutch up, because Remember who's on their heels right now, and that's the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are winning, and they are coming back, and they could potentially take that number 1 seed from the Eagles, like divisional wise. So you don't want that happening. You don't want to be the wild card. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it would hurt them, but I feel like they're a better team in the bye. I don't feel like they would be a better team going through the wild card. So that's my opinion. But yeah, if you guys are done talking about that, I'd like to get back on to the next game as well. Let's
Yep.
just keep it
Let's
moving
do it.
on. Freaking get this train rolling.
For
All right.
for you guys, the NFC, are we all in agreement here? Cowboys, Eagles, and 49ers. Is there anybody else?
I don't know because I don't know what to think of the Lions. I mean,
Nope. Nope.
I don't know. I think they're on a different tier to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the Lions. I think they're a
I
really
think
fun
that
team.
I think they're
Lions,
right
too.
below. If I would have to say, I'd say they're number 4 right now.
They're like Jacksonville to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Very inconsistent. Don't know what you're going to get. And that to me is a problem. So,
We'll talk about that here in a bit too, with Jacksonville, because they had a brutal fucking shit that just happened with them.
All right.
But,
Let's
go
lead us into the next
game.
one.
Yep, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Green Bay Packers, with the Green Bay Packers coming out on top, 27-19. Are we sure we're talking about Kansas this year? Is this year like just been the wonkiest freaking team I've seen this the whole time Patrick Mahomes has been their quarterback? Because this is getting ridiculous at this point. I just don't understand who's to blame, guys. Like, who's to blame for this game? For this loss?
All right. I need to talk about what everyone's talking about right now. The no call at the end of that game.
Yeah.
It was in front of everyone's
clear
eyes.
as
They
day,
replayed it. I don't know how many times, like 10 times, just to be like, are we seeing this? This is not pass interference, but then we have the other calls in this league that happen. I just don't understand it. And
Can we all just talk
I don't
about
understand that
how
one.
terrible the officiating has been this year?
Yeah,
Out of any
man.
year.
Oh,
I feel like this
dude,
has been
it's
the worst
so
year I've ever
bad.
seen. And it's
been
been making
gross.
it awful to watch football, man. Like, it's just like, man, dude.
Because some calls are called and some aren't. And that's what's killing. That's what's killing the whole
Yeah.
NFL. It's like
As a whole, like, it's
so
just been
bystander
terrible.
right now. Like, we're gonna call these calls, but when it comes out, like, when the game's on the line, oh, we're just gonna let them play. What? Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not how it works. Like, if you're gonna call that from the start, you're going to call it towards the end. That's
Yeah.
just how it is.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. Plays like that happen all the time. We see games,
Yeah.
end like that in the past. I mean, it's just confusing that no call on Tony
I just
was.
feel like, I mean, dude, it's
nuts.
$1 million organization. Like, the NFL is like a billion dollar
Billion
like, industry.
multi-billion.
And they can't like get this right. Like, as an entertainment company, you can't get your officiating right. That to me is just off. Like, I don't know. Like, and I don't mean to like turn this Kansas City Chiefs game into a talk about just the refs, but I mean, dude, seriously, that's been, as a fan, that's just been really frustrating to watch. And it's not even just here and there, it's everywhere. Like, every single game has these things where they're like, what the hell, dude? Where's the call? Where's the no? Like, and it's not even just the no calls. It's the calls that get made that are just unnecessary and just make the game drag and then just really boring. So, yeah, I just had to get that off my chest so we can go back.
I mean,
to
you hear it with the announcers. You hear it with the announcers. The announcers are literally being like, okay, this should be a PI. Wait, this should be a hold. This should be this. And they're just like, I could literally see them virtually like holding their heads like this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. How do I even talk about this right now? Because obviously they work for the NFL too. So they're like, we can't say they're not doing their job, but it's like they aren't doing their job. So what's happening? How do we talk about this? Guarantee you on commercial break, they're looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on this year, man? Like, this is ridiculous.
Dude, Dude, honestly, this is the worst I've seen the Chiefs, like, period, since Patrick Mahomes has started there, man. Like, this is kind of like the worst
But
season
is
that I'm
Patrick
seeing out
Mahomes to
of.
blame? Is
No,
Patrick
no,
Mahomes to blame?
dude, I don't blame Patrick Mahomes, man. They made those, 3 times Super Bowl pushes to get there, and then they lost their players. It is what it is. And he's so great as a quarterback. He's able to carry that
Yes.
team still probably to the playoffs and still try to contend. And it's absolutely nuts. It's broken, and like, it sucks because if he had a receiver there, that team would be looking like the Eagles right now. Imagine what would happen if AJ Brown or DK Metcalf or Mike Evans or somebody along that caliber being on that squad right now. Tyreek Hill, like, look what the Dolphins have been able to do with Tyreek Hill. They're missing that one guy.
They
And
are missing that
it's
one
it's
piece.
it's
I agree.
literally in
It
plain
can't be
sight.
Travis Kelsey alone.
It's
It
been
can't be
talked
Travis
about.
Kelsey.
It's been talked about all this year, guys. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think they have a chance. Well, it's Patrick Mahomes. They have a chance,
Right.
but this is the worst chance they've seen themselves in 4 years.
I agree. I actually agree with everything you just said, and I think honestly, it's just been the Patrick Mahomes salary has caught up to him. They can't bring anybody in, and the biggest question mark going into this year was Chris Jones. Like, are they going to bring back Chris Jones? Is like, are they going to pay him? Are they going to bring him back to add to this defense? And then they can't pay anybody. They can't bring any other veteran in. They have to rely on the guys that they have, and that's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. And Travis
Or
Kelsey, man, I mean,
just
he's in his like get up to his mid 30s, like he's getting to the back end of his career,
Yep.
and it's like, you can't rely on that kind of guy
All the
at
And I
all
time.
mean, I
times.
I
All
see
the
I see
time.
all these new commercials. He's got a new podcast. He's been going to Taylor Swift concerts, etc. Like, he's a busy guy now. And honestly, I don't think football is the number one on his mind right now.
No, absolutely, and that's fair to say. Like, I mean, as a person in your professional career, like he's got to think about other things besides football at this point. I mean, he's probably not going to get another contract. I mean, he's probably going to retire
You don't think
either
so?
any of no, I mean he'll probably either retire at the end of this year or next year. I mean, he might bring it back one more year just to give him a chance, but like as a professional, I mean, he's got his podcast already, like you just said. I mean, he's got all those commercials. He's probably going to get deals when he gets out. So I think the Chiefs' problem is that they just need to. I mean, last year a lot of rookies stepped up for them, and that's why they had such good success. Like they had those rookies step in and fill those holes. But this year, I mean, even after Juju Smith-Schuster left, there hasn't been somebody to fill his role, and I feel like that's been their biggest problem is they don't have that excellent veteran guy outside of Travis Kelsey who can step up and perform for them. I mean, how many drops did he have a game? I mean, how many miss opportunities? Like
It's
that one
embarrassing.
loss that came down to just a guy not being able to catch a routine catch. So
As
I think
much as
that's
I was, I like to blame that, like, no call at the end there, like, they still, like, lost this game, really. Like,
Lost
they
yeah,
were
it.
playing catch up
absolutely.
from the
Yeah.
get-go.
And you can't use that as an excuse, right? Like every team, like we just talked about, faces penalties, like missed calls and all that. You cannot say that that was the determining factor. Like the determining factor.
Although I will say that one is probably the most blatant one that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. But at
Although,
the same time,
yeah.
like they still did not score more than 20 points against
Yeah.
a struggling Green Bay team. So
And they still had to go for 2 even if they score that touchdown, no?
yeah, I mean they were
To
down
tie
by
the game.
8.
Still had to
So
go
yeah,
through. Yeah.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so who knows if they would even scored that. Pacheco
Yeah.
was ejected from this game for throwing a punch. Who is their goal line guy? Is going to be Travis Kelsey. He'll get triple team. So,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the other 2-3 guys can't catch the ball. So, they get triple team Travis Kelsey, push him around a bit.
I think the biggest thing is they don't have any guy to take the top off the defense too. I mean, that was obviously the Tyreek Hill role when he was there. But even last year, I felt like they had a guy like I think it was Marquez Valdes Standing or whatever his name is.
Scantling, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scantling.
and he was gone after. I mean, towards the beginning of this year. So I just feel like they all around the board, their offense, man, like just does not look good. Doesn't look good at all. I mean, they lost the left tackle, they lost this and this, they can't pay anybody, they're in cap space, hell. So I just think they have a lot of issues. And then Patrick Mahomes, man, I mean, you can't deny, like, outside of him being able to scramble, he hasn't been perfect.
Yeah.
He hasn't, made every throw that he should make. I mean, you got to put a little bit of blame on him too at some point.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Packers here for a little bit. They have a chance to make playoffs now. Scored 27 points on the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a great defense. What happened?
Now it's 6-6.
I mean, dude,
they don't have Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is constantly out. They've been out. He's been out pretty much this entire year.
I think two guys really stepped up big. Yeah, I think two guys really stepped up big that game. It was Jordan Love, number one. Thought he played awesome.
Christian Watson,
number two, and then also AJ Dillon. I mean, he stepped up. He was their number one guy. I mean, I think it was 18 for 73.
I would put Romeo Doubs in front of AJ Dillon. I do like AJ Dillon. I just Romeo Doubs, what he was able to show this past game.
Yeah,
I liked it more than what AJ Dillon did.
Yeah,
me personally.
I agree. Yeah. I just think Jordan Love, he looked a lot different in that game than we're used to seeing. He was making some good throws when he needed to, better situationally.
Looks very similar to the beginning of the season. No, Webby. The first 3 games, he was looking phenomenal.
I thought he looked efficient. Like, he wasn't spectacular, but he was like kind of like a Brock Purdy to me. Like, very efficient, made the throws, did what he needed to do. And I thought that's exactly what he showed in this game. Just did what he needed to do, executed the offense at a high level. So to me, that's stepping up big. I mean, I know he's been in the league technically for over 3 years under Aaron Rodgers, had a lot of time to grow, but at the same time, like, this is his first start. So, first season to start. So,
Sammy, you got something you want to say about these Packers, man?
Jordan Love.
You look like you've been itching.
Yeah, Jordan Love, like I said, Jordan Love actually performed phenomenally, not throwing any INTs, which you'll love to see, and also getting 3 touchdowns. Had a passer QBR rating in the 90s, so honestly, just phenomenal job on his end of the ball. And then also, you have to give some credit over to AJ Dillon. I mean, he, was still backfilling in for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones. And it's just, honestly, what do you do with Jones, man? Like, dude, Justin,
I said from the get-go and the deadline and everything, dude, they should have traded him. I said it from the get-go, man, but nobody was going to trade for a guy who's literally, like, you never know what's going to happen to this guy. Injury prone this entire season, so nobody's buying for this guy right now, and we'll just have to wait and see what they do. They might, drop him.
Yep. But big thing I really wanted to touch up on real quick before you talk, Webby. Sorry.
You're good.
But Green Bay is tied right now with Minnesota, and do we see Green Bay potentially making a wild card spot, boys?
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the year I believed in these Packers, but then everything took a turn midseason, and I was like on the bandwagon against them, man. I couldn't understand why Jordan Love was making the decisions he was making. I couldn't understand why Aaron Jones, couldn't even play a damn game in the NFL this season. Like, a lot of things were going wrong. Christian Watson wasn't able to, catch these deep balls that were placed in his hands. I just didn't understand it. A lot of missed opportunities, a lot of games that they could have won and they should have won, but they didn't. And we see a turn, and now they beat defending champs. In their building, or was it in Lambeau?
I thought it was in Lambeau, but I might.
Okay, yeah, and I believe it was too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely can see him taking at least the 7th seed. I think the biggest thing, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think David Bakhtiari came back, at least recently, their left tackle. I think he was out for at least a good portion of the season, and that could be a lot to do with, he's an amazing left tackle. multiple All Pros, multiple Pro Bowl type of left tackle, and I mean not having your left tackle is huge. So I think that was also a piece of it. I mean, with the Aaron Jones also being out too, so maybe that could attribute to a lot of why they weren't having the same success. But I think honestly, with Jordan Love stepping up, I could definitely see this team competing for a wild card. Do I see him going deep? Absolutely not. They'll probably be out of the wild card if they do make it. But I mean, I definitely think that they can at least make the playoffs this year.
All right, I agree with that,
Hey,
Sammy. Anything else, man?
nope,
All
I
right.
agree with Webby.
All right, boys, let's move on to the last game, and then we got a rapid fire coming up afterwards.
Yes. All right, last game, and yeah, we'll get into that. We might spice it up a little bit, but let's get into the next and final game. We'll overview. We got the Cincinnati Bengals up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Bengals ended up coming out on top, 34-31. All I have to say, I only have to say one word, if and not even one word, one little segment right here. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't get hurt, they don't lose this game. That's all I gotta say. That's it. That's it. I got it. You guys can take it over from there. Like,
You
Yes
got
and
anything,
no.
Webby? I'll
Yes
let
and
you
no.
go
I mean, I
first.
agree with a little bit, I guess, Sammy. Um, I mean, you can't let the Bengals score 34 points, man. I mean, you gotta
yeah,
get a stop, man. Like, you gotta get a stop. How do you let
against
a
a
second
rookie
string
quarterback.
guy,
Against
rookie
a rookie
second
quarterback.
string, come
Yep.
in there and tear you up like they did, man? I mean, the dude went 32 for 37, 350 yards. Like, come
Dude,
on, dude.
insane.
You
What
got
an
you got to
insane
get a
performance.
stop. So yeah, kudos to that guy, by the way. I mean, way to step up, come in there in that spot and just take over the game.
Absolutely.
Super kudos to him, not taking away with anything that he did, but man, you gotta. I mean, but can we just say like Jamar Chase is unstoppable? I mean, the dude, man, like the dude's unstoppable. He's
Dude.
unguardable. He's always open. So, I mean, what do you do with that? I
I would
guess,
have to
I
but
mean, he
agree.
says it. He said it plenty of times, right? Like when earlier this year when they were struggling really hard, and they went to him, they'd be like, "Is what's going on? Can you not? Do you not feel like you can break away from these guys or find your way? You can get open." First thing he said, "I'm always open." That's
yeah,
all he said.
I remember
I'm
that.
always
Yeah,
open.
yeah, that was cool.
Dude, I'm just kind of in awe of Jake Browning here. Like, whoa.
What a
Like,
performance!
what a
Yeah,
performance. Like, I was
Yeah.
not expecting that at all. I was expecting, like, maybe they might get a touchdown. Maybe. But damn, 24 points. Wow. Sorry,
yeah.
34 points. Jeez. My bad.
Is Cincinnati hopes over? Are they over? Or are they just potentially might be able to sneak into a wild card spot? You think? You
It's
got
it's
Pittsburgh
it's
and
it's
Cleveland right now
like
at seven and
Tough.
five, and
it's like right
they
there
just
at the
both
border,
lost.
man. It's right there at the border. We have to see what they do next game in order to really decide.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, man. The AFC is a really close race. I mean, you got a lot of potential teams, and then that division is tough. I
Yeah.
mean, you got Baltimore at the top. I mean, you got
9 and
Pittsburgh
3.
hanging
Yep,
in there. You got the Browns
that's
hanging in
insane to
there. I mean,
think
who would have
about.
expected that? So
No,
you got to be perfect for the rest of the year to really have a chance to make a playoff run. So do I want to say no? Like they have no chance. Not really, but at the same time, it's like you gotta play perfect. Do they really want to though? At this point, I mean, you could potentially go up in a mid first round pick and maybe have a better selection. So maybe they're even thinking like, I mean, this season without Joe Burrow it might even just potentially not be, and with the division the way it is, it might be a wash at this point. So you also have to be thinking about that too.
and this is a big crush to Jacksonville. Big crush. Now they're 8-4. They got the Colts and Houston on their tail right now at 7-5.
Damn,
Do we
Houston.
think this division ends up getting a little spicy and one of these
Yes.
other teams
Yes,
end up taking number one spot?
Yes. Yes. And
Yes.
yes,
yes.
And
dude.
Yes.
who would it be? Who would it be? Who would it be?
Houston, man. I mean, CJ Stroud, bro. That guy's a baller. And he's
I
gonna be a
They did just lose Tank Dell.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
That is true. That's true.
And that's a big blow because
He's been
that was
awesome
like
this year
his
too.
number one. That was like his number one guy.
You're right.
Like we and Justin talked about it last podcast. Like he is their new number one. Like in my mind, he was number one. But that is season-ending injury now.
But how about this? Tank Dell going out and then Nico Collins, picking it up.
Dude, he stepped up. I mean, he took over, and I mean, but you got to give it to CJ Stroud, bro. Like he has been super lights out this year as a rookie. I mean, nobody expected Houston and CJ Stroud to be as good as he was.
No. Are we getting?
Let's not get too off topic though, guys.
Are we getting a? Yes. Are we getting into a Patrick Mahomes type kind of guy?
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. Whoa, slow the brakes. Slow the brakes. That's just like. Yeah, that's just like when Patrick was talking about.
I understand.
Brady
I understand. It's a big.
I
understand it's a big stretch, right? But when we're talking rookies, who's everyone talking about? CJ Stroud. He's the buzz of the NFL, right? This has to be talked about. Patrick Mahomes was the buzz as well. So, this is his rookie season. Patrick Mahomes got to the Super Bowl, what, year 2, year 3?
Yeah, and CJ Stroud's been great. Okay, don't get me wrong. He's been amazing as a rookie. He's been super efficient, super accurate. I mean, that was the biggest thing. And that's what everybody talked to him about coming out of college. He's a really accurate passer, and it's shown. It's really shown in the NFL. But he's also really smart. Like he's good at reading defenses. He's good at the line. He's good at putting the guys in the situations. I think he reminds me more of like a Peyton Manning, like that same type of vision and reading the defense.
Can scramble a
little bit, not super mobile, but he can when he needs to. That's really my comparison. And I mean,
I would have to see him more in staying in the pocket more in order for me to kind of see that analogy there. But I do see a little bit of resemblance there, especially with the accuracy. Peyton Manning, incredible guy, Hall of Famer.
Not that I want to put that label on him because I mean Peyton Manning's a Hall
of
Famer.
This is his rookie year. Phenomenal job from the coaching staff, especially handling a rookie quarterback, being able to come out on top and be able to put your team in an area where you can make the playoffs and better yet even take the division, have a chance at it, at least a crack in my eyes. So kudos to that team, man. The Texans, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I don't have anything I want to talk about with the Bengals and Jaguars any further.
I'm good. Are you guys good?
I'm good.
Ready for some rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire. Webby, this is a new segment for you, but we'll remind you as well as everybody else. So rapid fire, guys. We're going to go through all the teams we haven't hit yet. Justin will have exactly 1 minute to go through them. We're also going to throw Webby in there.
Let's
exactly 60 seconds to talk about. Yep, you guys are going to go back and forth. You guys got 60 seconds to talk about that team. We'll start with you, Justin, and then we'll go back and forth between Justin and Webby. They'll have 60 seconds to talk about it, and then it'll give us a little bit of time afterwards once they have that 60 seconds if we want to touch up on anything they might have missed. All right, Justin, whenever you're ready, we can start.
Hit me with your best shot. Let's hear it. First game, let's hear it.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so first game, we have the Colts at the Titans with the Colts coming out on top, 31-28. What's going on, man? What's going on with this team?
Dude, I missed Zach Moss. I thought this was going to be his damn game, man. Man, was I wrong. Jonathan Taylor was out, and this guy was an absolute dud on the field. It looked like he just needed the volume that he was getting in the beginning of the season. He needed to continue that throughout the year. It just looked like he was out there cold. Like he wasn't ready to take that spot back from Jonathan Taylor. Since he's been receiving most of the carries, he's looked cold, and that reflects. I mean, bit unfortunate. And then the Titans, man, I'm going to keep on saying this every single damn podcast. What the hell were they thinking when they didn't trade Derrick Henry? I'm going to say it every single time. I'm going to remind you guys what the Titans did and what they should have did. Should have traded him away.
That is time. That is time. All right. Webby, you have anything to touch up on what Justin talked about?
Yeah, I mean, Zach Moss, man. I mean, he's the disappointment in Buffalo. He's going to be the disappointment in India. I'm just letting you know. So, but other thing, like, is Will Levis for real? Like, do you really think that this guy is ready to take over? I mean, does he need a couple more years? Like,
No.
what do we feel on that? And that's just one thing I want to bring up because he had that awesome game, and then now it's just like it's been mediocre since.
Dude, I still think he's better than Ryan Tannehill.
Agreed. I mean, anybody
at this moment,
I think at this point everybody agrees with that.
Yeah, better option this year, but going forward, like, do we feel really confident that he's actually going to be the guy for them, or do they look in the draft, which this draft right now is pretty deep in quarterback?
Yeah.
Do we see him go to take somebody? I definitely agree.
I think they do take a quarterback. I think Tannehill, somehow gets traded or dropped, and then. They do take a pick. It's going to be a late pick, but I do believe they pick up a quarterback because they're going to need somebody behind Levis. If not, they might trade for one, although I don't see anybody up for trade besides DeAndre Hopkins, really, on that squad.
Yeah, and I agree with you,
if they're going to be in the rebuild mode.
They should have traded Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like, they should have done it. I mean, get anything
they tried,
for him. But
they tried, but...
I think they were just asking for too much. I mean, I think you could have gotten easily a second round pick, and maybe a later round pick, and then that would have been fine. But no, they decided to keep him, and now, I mean, they're going to be in a weird situation of like, do they pay him or do they let him walk? So,
they took a gamble in the season, especially when they went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. When they got DeAndre Hopkins, I knew they were taking a gamble in the season, and I knew there was a possibility they didn't trade Derrick Henry, but in my eyes, I saw this season kind of as a failure for them, so I thought they for sure would trade away Derrick Henry, kind of look for suitors, for DeAndre Hopkins, and try to go into the rebuild mode, draft a quarterback, look to rebuild and see what the squad does in the future. But they went the opposite, and now it kind of screwed them.
Yeah, because going into 2023, he is guaranteed, I think, $5 million or something like that, and he's getting paid $16 million on the year. So that's a lot for running back. I mean,
on that game, this is a hard one.
Like, what even was it? Like, seriously, like, was it even football? Like, what was I watching? Like, seriously, what are the Chargers? I mean, I cannot tell you even what the hell the Chargers even are. The Patriots, I know, just are not good. Sorry, but Chargers, man, I mean, dude, you have like everybody that you need to succeed, but they just continuously put out mediocre performances. And I can't tell you why. Is it Justin Herbert? Is it Austin Eckler? Is it their coach? What is it? I mean, I have no idea. So, I mean, the Patriots are just going for that second round. I mean, that second pick. I mean, you already know that. But Chargers, man, like, what are they going to do? Like, fire their head coach, hire another mediocre guy? Like what are they going to do? Like, I don't even know where to start with them. So that's my thoughts.
All right, and that's a minute right there. All right, Justin, do you have anything to touch up on that?
1, the Chargers coach is doomed. He's losing his job. It's absolute. It's literally absolute.
It's happening.
Are we the way he's like showed himself in like interviews has already like pretty much announced that he's gone by the end of the season. He looks clearly upset about something and it's boiling over. 2, I have yet to hear a Patriots fan in quite some time ever since Tom Brady's left. I'm wondering where y'all at. I haven't heard a Patriots fan in so long, and it's been the greatest thing that's happened to me in a while. The only thing worse than a chirping Cowboys fan is a chirping Patriots fan. And, man, I'm glad to not hear the chirping because y'all couldn't even score a damn point. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in here. I honestly just really, really have to point this out, guys. Austin Eckler, 16 carries, 18 yards. What just happened? What it I'm it's like, am I hearing that correctly? Austin Eckler, only 18 yards, 16 carries. No way. He must be on like a real shit team. He's on the fucking Chargers, same team he's been on. Potentially like top 5 running back for the past, I don't know, like what, 2-3 years at least.
I would even clarify it even further. It's the top 2.
Top, yeah, exactly, especially fantasy wise. So what the hell did I just witness? They could not get the ground game at all rolling. Was this a Pats thing, or was this a more like with the team? Do you think this is a team thing and they need to figure this shit out?
Yeah,
Dude,
I think it's a
like
mixture of both for sure.
dude, like I said from the get-go, it's coaching, man. Like this team should be in Super Bowl conversations minus the defense. Their defense is terrible. But they hired a defense coach that was supposed to turn this season around. They had better defense last year than what this new defensive coordinator.
They've had a
Yeah.
lot of games where they
I don't
lost
know.
by
It's
3.
just
a lot of games.
there's nothing you can really point to besides coaching when you look at the Chargers, really. Like they have good players.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's been having a great year, has been performing, playing through
And it's
injuries
going to
and
get even
all.
worse. I mean, next year, you think there's a silver lining? Next
Yeah.
year, here's the salaries. You got Khalil Mack getting 38 million.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa getting 36 million. Mike Williams getting 32 million. Keenan Allen getting 34 million.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's getting 20 million. Like, you're not even in a position to move off of guys at this point. Like, the team that you have is the team that you have. So you got to figure it out. There's no getting out of it. So,
And the sad thing is they're stuck with it for quite some time, and they got to find a way to win. The guy is young, man. Justin Herbert's young. You can't ruin this guy's career, man. This guy is a talent. He's shown it, and you know his offensive line is not the greatest, but he's been able to prove it. Even so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
Except
we
this
had
game.
a comment in the chat, guys. They're just pretty much talking about how the Pats are going to lose. New England Patriots telling Mac Jones come back to practice, and Mac Jones rather stay in University of Alabama than get fined back to be back with the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, I feel bad for Mac Jones, but I don't feel bad for Mac Jones because I just don't like him as a player. I don't respect him at all. And that's not even just because he's in New England. It's just because he's just an awful human. Like, seriously, he's just.
Yeah, he doesn't
But
look
I feel bad.
like a good. He doesn't look like a good sport. If you
He's
guys know
not.
what I mean.
He's
He
a
doesn't
poor-
look like
he's like a
good sport.
crybaby. He's a little
yeah.
crybaby. So, I mean, I semi like feel bad, but I don't feel bad because it's just like, dude, you done it to yourself. But at the same time, it's like that organization is also a mess a little bit. So he's kind of having to deal with that.
Well, I mean, he did have to watch. Did he watch Tom Brady or no?
No, he
Okay,
got drafted after he left.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm about to say, well, I mean, that kind of comes from Tom Brady a little bit, don't you guys think? But never mind. Tom Brady did cry a lot.
Tom Brady had his thing, but he at least
What
got
other
the job
quarterback
done,
showed?
too.
What other quarterback showed like more emotions than Tom Brady on the Bucks?
But the difference is that it was like Tom Brady showed emotions as a competitor, whereas Mac Jones is just like the dude's like just not right, man. And like there's been things like said within the organization where he's just like done some really shitty stuff and he just never really brought it up. Like on the field, like doing the cup check and then like kneeing somebody or going after the knees, like it's really bad stuff, man. It's just really shit stuff. You just don't like to see it on the field. So
Yeah.
All right, Sammy.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep
hit me
going
with this
on
next
with
game, man.
rapid fire. All right, next game. We got the Falcons at the Jets with the Falcons coming out on top 13-8. Surprise, surprise. What's going on?
I really wanted the Jets to win this game, man.
I know, me too.
I am a Tampa Bay fan. You know, I gotta root for the team, even though like I'd rather just tank at this moment. I've been saying it for the past 3 weeks. I'd rather just tank. Like let's see what we can do next season. Figure some stuff out. Maybe get a couple pieces. But the Falcons, man, I can't believe they are where they are. I thought the Saints would take this division, to be honest. Just talks about how much of a juggle up this division really is.
NFC South
So the Falcons are picking it up, and they have Desmond Ritter back, and Ritter's been leading them to victory for 2 straight games now, and the Jets only able to put up 8 points, and it's kind of miserable over there. Aaron Rodgers projected to return, I believe, December 24th.
Yeah,
But guess
week
what?
16,
But guess what?
that's they're saying.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Even play 'em? Why
Why
rush 'em?
even come back?
Yeah.
Don't risk anything. I think their season's pretty much over.
And that is time.
There you go.
All right. Webby, have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, just same old Jets. I mean, seriously, like
It's pretty sad.
what else do you expect? I mean, their defense, man, like obviously outstanding, but
Excellent.
offense, I mean, Dalvin Cook's been a disappointment this year. I mean, Brees Hall didn't really do much that game. Couldn't really do much that game. Didn't really get a lot of help. But I'm just really excited to see the evolution of Bijan Robinson. I mean, just an awesome player. And I hope that the Falcons continue to use him and not limit him, but also take care of him and not, destroy his career either and put him at risk for injury. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
All right. And then also real quick, shout out to Carito again with the comments. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick used to kind of get argumented when they were in the Browns. Players at the Browns team said Nick Saban had a better people skills and football IQ than Bill Belichick, and he was not an ego jerk like Bill. What'd you guys think? Is that pretty accurate, you think?
Pretty accurate, yeah. Bill Belichick definitely does not know. He just expects you to do your job and do it well. He doesn't really care. Like if you don't do your job and don't do it well, then he's just not going to play you. And that's just the way he is. He's going to take you out of the game. So I don't really expect anything less. And I mean, yes, Tom Brady was obviously a part of the equation when they, did all of that. But Bill Belichick also was a huge part of it too, because he was expecting nothing but the best out of his player. So,
no, I'd have to agree. All right, let's go on to the next one. Webby, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We got the Cardinals at the Steelers, with the Cardinals coming out on top 24-10. What's going on here?
Love to see it. Take down them Steelers. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about this game. I mean, I guess it's a typical type of game. I didn't expect the Cardinals to have the success that they did. I think James Conner obviously just took over that game. I mean, he was just unstoppable. Even when they were bleeding out the clock, he just kept running. He just kept running through people, which was really cool. Yeah, and I mean, as a Bills fan, I'm happy to see the Steelers lose. So that's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, all right. That's 35 seconds, but we'll take it. Justin, do you have any thoughts on that?
Nope. Let Webby take that one. I'm pretty good with that one. I just like to see Kyler Murray running around the field. That's all.
It's nice to see Kyler Murray out there, isn't there? It's so cool. I love watching.
It's gonna take him a few weeks to get back into it, I think, but I think
Absolutely.
I think having him there has been different. It's been different for the Cardinals, and I feel like they're a different team. So I guess I'll add that as well.
All right, Justin, you're going to get a fun one. All right, we got the Dolphins and the Commanders, with Dolphins coming out on top 45-15. Surprise, surprise.
Achane has came back, and boy, did the Dolphins miss him. Holy moly. They looked back to the offense of the beginning, man. They were missing this guy. This guy was the key. That 1-2 punch again. We're going to talk about it here again, because yet again, another team has a 1-2 punch. And we didn't believe it was going to happen. We never knew what Achane was. But look what he's been able to do this season. Look what he's been able to do today, or, this past week. So I mean, A-Chain coming back, looking healthy, looking great. 1-2 punch with Mostert, Tua, and Tyreek Hill been performing like monsters. Can this offense be stopped with all of them healthy? I have no idea, and I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then the Commanders, clearly tanking. Pretty much gave up after, second half.
And that
after
is
probably
time.
the third quarter they gave up.
All right, Webby, want to touch up on any of
Yeah.
that?
I mean,
Yeah.
can we just talk about how ridiculous of a cheat code Tyreek Hill is? I mean,
I
the dude's
know.
just not guardable.
Him,
Broken.
And
him
it's
and
not fair.
Too fast. It's too fast, man.
him,
It's
him
not
and
fair.
Achan both. Like they're
I
both
mean-
cheat codes. Now they got two of the fastest freaking people in the NFL on the same damn team.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
do
just,
you
it's not
guys
right.
do you guys realize, have you guys seen a clip at all of how far Tua has to lead, like throw the ball to Tyreek Hill, like how far he's throwing it in advance before Tyreek Hill breaks. Tyreek Hill, the ball is released before Tyreek Hill even looks back. Like the ball is released and then Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill looks and it's already on him. Like it's great to see the connection between those two. It's looking just like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill of that Super Bowl win. If they can just figure out and keep their defense on track, I think this team makes a deep push, guys.
Yeah,
That's the
I agree.
important part, right? Their defense, keeping their defense intact, because
Yeah.
that is what's going to end up being the deciding factor in the playoffs. I guarantee it. Like they can put up as many points they want, but if they don't have a good defense, those other teams are going to be able to keep up with them.
So
And then
one
what?
point that I want to add to this playoff conversation is that the Miami Dolphins have not shown that they can beat an actually good team that's not tanking. That's my
Like
one thing.
Cowboys, like
So,
Cowboys.
I mean, dude, the Bills crushed them. I mean, Philly crushed them. I can't remember the other teams that have crushed them, but it's just like every time they played a
Against
good team, a playoff team, or at the time at least, a playoff team, they don't perform. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's just their capability, or like you said, they can't
or
stop
if it's
anybody.
their defense, or it's their
It's been-
defenses that they're going up against. They're not
We
used to
can all
playing up
agree
against
here.
top
We can all
defenses.
agree here that the Miami Dolphins have been the hardest team to project because they've been this all season, right? Going up and down, like having these huge blowout games, people getting injured, and then they have like tough games, only scoring half of what they would usually score. So it's been an up and down slope, guys, and we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. Let's go on to the next one. We're cutting it close on time. And then at the end, I kind of want Webby to go over that division, that AFC division, and then go over the Bills and what he thinks the Bills need to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. All right, Webby, you got 60 seconds. Broncos
Okay.
versus Texans. You got the Texans coming out on top 22-17. What a close game. And you love CJ Stroud, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, I love CJ Stroud. I mean, I'm just super impressed with him. But I'm also like, okay, so Russell Wilson definitely did not have a great game at all. Probably one of the worst games of this season, actually. But yeah, I've been super impressed with CJ Stroud. I mean, blowing out expectations by a wide margin. I mean, I don't know if anybody predicted Houston to be a playoff contender. You know what I mean? Like, or even, like a playoff divisional contender, like, and even potentially able to take that division this year. I mean, but it's not even just CJ Stroud, it's just the organization as a whole and that coaching staff. I feel like that coaching staff has come in and done a really awesome job. So yeah, just that's basically it for this one.
All right. Justin, you have any thoughts on that?
Just going off of what Webby said, same thing, man. Just CJ Stroud's an absolute beast. What a season he's been able to put up this year. Completely a turnaround from this team of last year, and with a rookie quarterback at the head, it's just very surprising what this coaching staff, and let me reiterate, this coaching staff is absolutely phenomenal with the job they've been able to do with this young squad. really sad to see Tank Dell go injured and be out for the rest of the year. It's tough to see what they're gonna be looking like afterwards against some of these harder teams in the playoffs if they
Yeah,
make it.
Yeah.
this was a really send your prayers up to Tank Dell. What a incredible rookie season this kid had.
Yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely.
incredible. It kind of sucks to see him part, especially potentially them making the playoffs. So
Yeah,
hopefully the kid
absolutely.
comes back and comes back even stronger next year. I
Yep.
can't wait for CJ Stroud and
Without a
him
doubt.
to start connecting again, because it was just awesome to see two rookies just absolutely lighting it up.
One other point to end it. Will Anderson Jr., man. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that guy. He was also the first rounder from the Texans this year. They actually traded up to go get him. I believe it was like the third pick. And man,
Mhm.
that dude's been outstanding too. I mean, kind of under the radar, but even in this game, like 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and then a pass defend. Like he's been really taking it over. And as a rookie, that's also really. I mean, he came out of Alabama, like a pretty huge prospect, and he's kind of been a little bit on the radar, like I said. But man, he's been getting after it on that defense. So I would just pay attention to him.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Uh,
Hey, listen, thank you for that. I appreciate it. That was the greatest comment I've read all year by far.
As it says, Niner Gate. All right, let's go into the next one and the final one. This will be the Browns at the Rams, with the Rams coming out on top 36-19. Wow, what a game. What a depressing game for the Browns.
Yeah, man, we honestly, Sammy, I thought the Browns, they might have had a chance, but clearly I don't think they do. Thompson, I just don't think he's going to be able to make a push for the playoffs, really. So I think the Browns here are in a tough situation. And then for the Rams, they're looking towards next year as well. Does Aaron Donald retire this year, or does he give it another year? I think he said that he was willing to do two years, right, on his contract. I'm not too sure about that. Somebody fact check me, but we'll have to wait and see about the Browns, to be honest. And then the Rams, if they can stay healthy next year, that team is the 1-2 punch. Puka, and man, we'll see. That's all I got, guys. Keep it nice and brief.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are killing me in the chat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep a straight face and talk about this while laughing at y'all too.
They're cracking me up over here. I'm like, it had to be my mic there for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the Rams have, they have a great setup with Kyron Williams at the running back, and then also having Cooper Kupp back, and then Puka, coming out another star, another star. I'm pretty sure this is his rookie season.
Yes.
So another star rookie. Like I said, dude, it's insane the amount of like great rookies we've had this year, and like them breaking out. So it's incredible. It's incredible, and you love to see it, especially for majority of these teams that are receiving these players. Unlike us, we didn't receive any of them, but it tends to happen when you make the playoffs. I mean,
All right.
we're probably not this year, but
All right. We're running low on time. I want to hear Webby's thoughts about this AFC division, man. I just want to hear his thoughts. I've been dying for it all season. I just want to hear somebody talk about the Bills as a fan.
Man, yeah, let's talk about the Bills real quick.
if you guys also didn't know, real quick, Webby is a hardcore Bills fan. Been a Bills camp fan probably in his entire life, so
Absolutely.
he loves talking about it, and we haven't had him on the show for quite some time, so we're gonna give him some time to talk.
Yeah,
Defend his
and I'll try not
Bills.
to take too long, but so much to talk about. I mean, just what a utter disappointment in my mind. I mean, and I saw it coming. I mean, all Bills fans that have been paying attention kind of saw it coming. I mean, I think having to rely on your quarterback to bail you out of every situation was going to catch up to you. I think mediocre coaching was going to catch up to you. I think how you've handled this year was going to catch up to you, how you've handled contracts and then going after some people and then just letting mediocre be okay is going to catch up to you. And that's really the what in my mind has been this season, just letting mediocre be okay. I mean, mediocre play, mediocre coaching. I mean, finally they made a move, and fired their coordinator and brought somebody
I
else
was
in who's been
about to
producing
say,
results.
and Joe Brady. How do you feel
Yeah,
about this guy?
I like Joe Brady, and a lot of people have
Yeah,
been just talking about that, but it's not just Joe Brady. I mean, that's got to change. It's really got to be the head coach, and that McDermott, man. I mean, I love the guy to death, but the dude's been mediocre. I mean, he can't. I mean, literally, how he handled that game against Philly just goes to show you, like he's super conservative, doesn't take chances and all that.
Yeah.
But without being by, like that's the one thing about the Bills, man. Is like they just hold on to coaches when they're not getting it done, and we've seen it many times in the playoffs. We've seen it many times in regular season. These kind of struggles happen, and then yeah, they catch hot, they get fired. Like we could honestly win out and be 11-6 and be like a true playoff contender. But at the same time, it's like you're still allowing mediocre to be okay. And how they've handled Josh Allen as a player has not been right. I mean, just everything in the organization, just
unacceptable.
letting players who don't perform be out there has been my thing. And also, like the thing with McDermott is like he's got like these guys, these select group of people that he just loves bringing in, and then they just don't perform. Like Von Miller, where has he been? Where like seriously, dude?
Injured.
And now he's yeah. So I just don't understand it. It's been like I said at the beginning,
Where's the
like
Yeah,
accountability?
it's got to
Where's
be
the
tough to
accountability?
watch,
You saw
especially
this
because
guy.
like you guys had hopes to like get to the Super Bowl. Like honestly, everyone had you as their favorites for last year and the past year and the past. It's like every
so
year you guys are like the favorites or like at least talked about in the conversation, and yet nothing comes of it. And
so
honestly,
yeah.
when you look at the team, you can't really blame, like the players, really. Like, you gotta eventually start to blame the coaching.
I mean, dude, like Josh Allen is, according to PFF, the second best quarterback in terms of rating and performance. So you can't really point at him. Yeah, he's thrown what, like 11 interceptions at this point, but
Yeah.
at least 5 of them are not his fault.
Yeah.
And then one of them was a Hail Mary. I mean, seriously, you're going to
Yeah.
count that one. But the other part of it, too, is I mean, I don't know any other team who has $45 million in cap space in their IR right now. And that's the Bills. Tre'Davious White, Daquan Jones, Matt Milano, big time players. I mean, if you go to 49ers and tell me that they're going to be okay without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, I mean, seriously, you're kidding yourself. So you
Let's
can't
see.
say that's not huge. So that's one part. Okay. The other part is just honestly, like again, like how they handled the coaching. We have been just so stupidly disappointed in the play calls on offense. And yeah, why wait until like week 11 to make a move? Like seriously, you needed to make a move earlier in the season. You need to make a move in the offseason. And honestly, I just think that comes down to the head coaching. Like
Yeah.
I
the,
mean,
the
where's the
penalties.
accountability? Where's the accountability? That's
Okay,
honestly
so
what I really want to say. Hold on, Justin. Hang on.
yeah, go ahead.
Because there has to be a point where you see like Von Miller, right? He's going out on podcasts. He's doing this. He's doing that. Like I didn't see him much practicing in the field or like trying to recover a lot quicker, doing what he needed to do to get back out there. It looked like he was just waiting for a payday. It's in my eyes. And then when he's getting paid, he's not even performing. So what?
The dude's getting paid $20 million a year to do nothing.
What?
So you can honestly count him as
That's
like
rough.
an IR. So that's the other thing is like the organization as a whole, how they've handled contracts. Like they keep paying people to not perform. Like Dawson Knox got paid like 15 million a year, and then he just like I get it, he was injured, but outside of that, I mean, he just doesn't make plays, doesn't block. It's just been tough, man. Like it's been really tough to watch like some of these guys who we can really count on and love in the organization. Like Gabe Davis, like he has big games and then he just like disappears. You know, he makes great plays and he just doesn't make the routine catches. I mean, seriously, like that's honestly been the theme going forward. Like ever since I feel like the 13 seconds game, it's just been downhill.
Yeah.
And
And
like
then real quick, Webby, I know we're running like super overtime, guys.
yeah.
The Bills and the Dolphins, they're kind of like the only, teams really in everyone's eyes contending for the playoff spot. It's either going to be one or the other or both of them even. So what is
Yeah,
your
at this
opinion
point, I
of
think
the Bills
Bills are gonna have
standings
to
right
fight
now?
for.
500? Do you think they have to win out now? Or do you think they'll be able to slip in still?
They have to win out in my eyes. I don't care. Like if they lose one game, I don't think that they're gonna make it. Like it's that tight of a race. I mean, seriously, you look
Mhm.
at. I mean, I know you can look at other teams' schedules and be like, oh, they have tough. But dude, the Bills' schedule is super freaking tough. They got to play
Yeah.
Kansas City. They got to play Dallas. They got to play the Chargers. They got to play New England again, who always plays them tough, and then they got to play Miami to end the year. So like, they lose any of those games, like, I'm sorry. Like
Yep.
to me, it's like I'm not saying the season's over because it's not. They can definitely catch fire. They can definitely win out and then have a playoff spot. But
If they do what they did this past game, I understand they ended up still losing, but
yeah,
I feel like they have a very good chance of winning out. Very
And
good
then
chance.
one last question. Man, are you guys hopes of the playoffs literally holding on if the Dolphins win or lose? And then also, do the Bills fire McDermott finally after they miss the playoffs, if they miss the playoffs?
I think yes. If the season ends the way I think it will, they have to. They have to make a move at coaching because you can't let somebody, like I said, and if you're a real organization, and any other organization would do it, like San Francisco would do it, Philly would do it, Dallas would do it. If you are not performing at your job, and his job is to oversee the entire organization and get everybody prepared. That don't care if you're the defensive coordinator too, like it's still your job. He's got to be held accountable, and they have to move off of him. And I think they go to a different direction. I mean, the way they've handled Josh Allen, the way that they handled the entire offense as a whole, has just been, in my mind, unacceptable.
Yep.
So,
Sammy, you
man,
have anything you want to add, man? If not, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Nope. Honestly, I mean, Bills put themselves in a really tough situation, like we've talked about, like Webby was hitting. All those points, Webby. Honestly, I'm right with you. I'm right with you. So, I really hope you guys end up turning it around. I would really love to see the Bills in playoffs. I think they've always been entertaining to watch, always. So I hope to see them in playoffs. If not, hopefully big changes happen at that
Yep.
point. Big changes. So. But yeah,
yeah.
All right. Well,
Justin,
it's
All right.
go
all
ahead.
right, guys. Well, it's a big welcome back to Webby. It's great to have you back on the podcast, man. It's a successful podcast, week 12, and we hope to see you guys for week 13, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and go down and drop a like, follow, and subscribe to our channel to see our weekly content every single Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Other than that, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
We appreciate the comments, by the way. We always make sure to hit you guys if you guys end up chatting with us. So thanks, you guys. We do appreciate it. But until next time, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday.